All right, so Chattanooga wrap up. Don't mind me. This is my protein pudding. It's in a measuring cup because it is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Chattanooga wrap up. So we'll talk about a little bit of my mentality coming in, and then just how the show went. So when I was coming into Chattanooga, and obviously I talked about this like a little bit on my Legion wrap up and a little bit on like my lead up videos to Chattanooga, but I was feeling like very nervous, right? Like lineup came out and I was just like, holy smokes. Actually, you know what? Let me rewind a little bit to before the lineup, just after Legion, right? So Legion happens. I do really great, but I don't like my ranking doesn't reflect how well I felt like I did, if that makes sense. Like I really expected to get second in the routine round, right? Like I mentioned that in my Legion wrap up, I expected to get second in the routine round. Didn't get second in the routine round. You know, of course, like I said, looking back at that video, I can tell like why it wasn't, but my goal after Legion was like, okay, for Chattanooga, like upgrades are coming. I'm going to throw all the upgrades in. And I just want to make sure that I don't look tired. Like I was so gassed at Legion. So I was like repping skills, repping skills, repping skills. And actually what we did was we only did cardio and routine. I did not lift a single time in between Legion and Chattanooga. Only cardio, only routine. And when I tell you guys, I was doing those skills all the time. If I had a free moment in my day, I was in the living room, I was at the gym, wherever I was doing those skills. So the upgrade that I added, which was like the headstand, like kind of side thing, found that on Instagram. Because I was like, I need to add another good strength skill because I was doing like that yoga, like I don't know what it's called, pigeon pose. I don't know. I have no clue. That could be completely wrong. Crow. I don't know. The one where you're like on your hands and your elbows are on your knees are on your elbows. So I did that, and then I front head spring. Right. That was fine, but it just was boring. Like it didn't look that great, to be honest. So I was like, I need to find a skill. Went on Instagram, found a skill that I didn't have, and it was just like repping it, repping it, repping it, repping it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to spin. I've actually been wanting to spin since after the Olympia last year, but I'm a super big head case about my tumbling. So I just like couldn't get myself to do it during open gym. And then I just like kind of gave up on it. I was just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But then Taylor spun. I saw Kristen posting little teasers on Instagram that she was going to spin. I'm like, you know what? Spin it to win it. Oh, hold on. Ruben's calling me. This is janky. This is why I need a tripod. I lose tripods all the time. Okay. So I was like, you know what? We're spinning. So I was adding a full. Then I was adding like that new skill and like a little bit of choreography. And then I was just also just trying to make sure that I didn't look tired, which was my feedback. So I went hard on the routine and hard on my diet. And I had mentioned like this was the hard, like during Legion, I was like, yeah, I missed something every single day. Between Legion and Chattanooga, I didn't miss. Like I did not miss. I was like, I have to be better, right? So at this point, I had asked Kristen, are you coming to this show? Because I'm trying to be realistic about my chances of winning. I know that her physique is very strong. And, you know, she had just beat me in Legion in routine round. Even though I did feel like I could beat her in routine, I was just like, you know, you just never really know, right? Then I find out Stephanie Jones is coming, and then the list comes out, and then I knew Amy Hamilton was coming, and then I find out Tamara/Tamara, still don't know how to say her name. Like, I see this list, and I'm like, I'm not winning this show. Like, I'm not going to win, which is fine, right? Like it's fine to do shows that you don't think you're going to win. But at the same time, in between this time, now I've chatted with Taylor a little bit and she tells me that she's doing Ben Weeder. So now I'm like, well, I'm not going to win Ben Weeder. Chattanooga's my only chance. And then I see this list and I'm like, I'm not going to win Chattanooga. So I'm not going to go to the Olympia next year. Like this sucks. So I just felt really defeated. I felt really defeated. And then I just also felt like, I don't know, there was like this weird feeling of like, nobody cares that I'm on this list. I don't know. It was just this weird, like I had talked about like feeling very underestimated. Like I felt like I looked at the list and was like, oh my gosh, Stephanie's on here, Kristen's on here, you know, Amy's on here, Tamara's on here. But I just felt like nobody looked at the list and was like, oh, Andrea, you know, like, I don't know. I just felt underestimated by myself and by everyone else. And it like really got me into this weird funk. And then I was just like, you know what? There's nothing you can do about being underestimated. Like you just do your best and prove people wrong. You get your mind right, because that's like kind of the come to Jesus moment I had to have with myself. It's like, Andrea, you're underestimating yourself. So why are you like bent out of shape that other people are potentially underestimating you too? Like you look at this lineup and you don't feel like you could win or be in the top 3. So why should you expect that other people feel that way? So I had to get hyped up by Taylor. Taylor and Danielle are the best hype women, by the way. Had to get hyped up by them. And then, like I said, I just went to work. Show was amazing. Chattanooga, Becca, and NPC Tennessee, they know how to put on a show. They know how to put on a show. I've obviously been an NPC. I don't know if it's obvious for people who are just now like starting to follow me. I used to live in Tennessee. Now I live in California. So all my entire bodybuilding career, besides like literally one bodybuilding show I did in college like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, my entire bodybuilding career has been in Tennessee. So I've watched these shows develop and get bigger and all this stuff. And NPC Tennessee, one thing about them, they're going to put on a show. They're organized. They give you swag. Like, you can always count on coming away from their show with something. They have great expediters. They always bring in the best media. Like, we had Will and Yoko, NJM, and Dan Ray. Like, I think like all of their shows, they bring somebody. They bring Yoko or Will. Yoko has been at most of them, but they've also started bringing Will. And like I said, they also bring JM to the show. So it was just a show that I was really excited to do, regardless of how I did. And it lived up to all my expectations, right? I've done this show before, and I got completely smoked. But the stage was big. I tested out the stage. The stage was big. It was like not bouncy, but like it felt like you could power through. Like, I don't know. It's an amazing stage, honestly. Like, I told Becca, I said, you need to tell every single promoter who hosts fitness needs to talk to you about this stage, because like I said, Legion, the stage was horrible. And I said it, I think I said on Instagram, like, I'll be back to Legion. Legion was a fantastic show. Love that we got jackets. Love that we got swag. But I will not be doing Legion again. I will not be doing that show again, because that stage was terrible. Like, and the elevation, we've already discussed my issue with the elevation. I will not be participating in that show again. Chattanooga, on the other hand, is a show that as long as I'm competing, I'm going to make sure that show is on my schedule. So anyway, morning of, get tan, morning of, get ready, like everything's good, get to the venue super early. We run late a lot, right? Like, if you guys have been watching my YouTube, you probably know that by now. We run late a lot, and it stresses me out on show day. So I got there super early. I was literally the first athlete in the building. They were still setting up stuff in the background, but I was like, just tell me where to be out of your way. Like, I just want to be back here so I have time to pump up. I have time to like sit. I have time to like just get my mind right. So I did that. I went in the corner, took my pump product, like all that stuff, started eating my little cookie, got my dumbbells out, started pumping, feel good, felt really good going on stage. Routine felt great, but quarter turns, goodness gracious, y'all. I got to figure out comparisons. I just fade. I fade, and I always get moved out in comparisons after like looking great in first look, after looking great in my routine, like my individual. I go to comparisons and I don't look good. And I get moved out. Because I got a sleepy right quad that will not stay on. I just like my midsection, I start to lose it. And my back is just my back, and it is what it is. But like, I just feel like during first look, they're like, okay, yeah, like this girl looks good, this girl looks good, this girl looks good. Then during comparisons, they're like, oh yeah, we really like this girl. Or sorry, during individual, they look at me and they're like, oh yeah, we really like this girl. And then call outs happen and I am a disaster. Like, that's what I feel like, a disaster. Like, I said it after Legion, I felt like I came off stage and didn't feel anything. Like, I'm like, was I doing anything? Now, Ruben was close to the front and I could hear him talking to me. Like, I could hear him telling me quads, midsection, like, stay on your legs, so I could hear him, and that was really helpful. But like, I was really disappointed in a 7th place physique. I came into this show hoping to get a 5th or 6th. 6 was the absolute lowest that I was thinking I was going to get. So then to be in the 6-7 spot and land in 7th is just like at Legion when I was in the 3-4 spot and I landed in 4th. Like, I was really disappointed by that when I saw the score sheets. And just like I said, when I got off stage, I was glad I was in the first call out, but I was just like, dude, like, you got to figure this out. And I do this stuff with Sydney. Like, we do posing conditioning and it's hard as hell. But just when I get on stage on show day, I don't know what's going on. So that was that, whatever. I go eat, rest. Afternoon comes, I warm up. I feel great. I feel like perfect, good warm up. Performance of a lifetime. So good. Besides that weird thing that I did in the middle of I like didn't get up the right way. Now I did miss one of my skills, but I improvised. So I do a handstand press down to like that little hold. My toe hit the floor. So then I just did a few push-ups and just made it look like that's what it was supposed to be, but it's not what it was supposed to be. But I didn't really care because I knew that it looked seamless and I knew that it looked fine. So I wasn't like, oh, this was a mistake. Like only I knew it was a mistake. So I didn't really care about that. My new skill that I had practiced was not amazing, but it wasn't bad. So I was like so happy about that because I was so nervous about that skill. My full was really good. I just had a really great performance and I felt really good. And I was just like, wow, like after that performance, now I do feel like I can be in the top 3. Like all the way leading up to finals, I was just like, I'm hoping for a top 6. But after I got off stage, I was like, I think I can be top 3. I think I can be top 3. And so to get the top 3 was just amazing. And I talked to Kelly, who was one of the judges, and he said like that second, like it could have gone first or second, or sorry, second or third for you and Tamara in routine. He's like, it was really close. And I'm fine with that. Like, honestly, she's got 6th at the Olympia last year and she got 3rd at the Masters Olympia. Like, would have loved to get 2nd in routine. I would have loved to win routine. But I mean, losing to Amy and Tam, like, I'm not going to complain about that, right? And when I got my feedback from Becky, she said energy was amazing, flow was amazing, which is great because that means I improved on what Tarek told me at Legion. She just said my skills don't look very easy for me. Like, some of them look easy, but she said that I need to make my skills look easier. And she used Michelle as an example. And she was like, Michelle's skills look like she could walk through them, which I completely agree. Michelle is hard to follow because she goes on that stage and looks like this is the easiest thing she's ever done in her life. She's super springy, like super powerful. It looks like anybody could go up there and do it. She makes it look so easy. So then when I follow her, yes, my energy is a big contrast from hers. My pace is a big contrast from hers, but also my skills look hard. Like, you can tell, even if I'm not necessarily tired, you can tell I'm struggling on some of them. So I think that was just like the main difference, like the main differentiator between me and Tam was like, my skills looked a little hard for me because they were. So that's what I'm working on between now and Ben Weider, is just like making those skills easier, like literally practicing them so that they are easier for me, so that they look easier. But yeah, I feel amazing about how Chattanooga went. That was like the best, honestly, the best show experience, like overall, that I've ever had. Obviously, ranking, getting 3rd place, like makes it that much better. But honestly, like just from the check-ins to, like I said, the stage to the photo and video to getting feedback immediately, like not having to wait until the very end of the show to get feedback. Like, and I know that not every show can do that, but it was just a special case of this show where Becky was able to like leave the judge's stand to come give us feedback before she had to judge NPC stuff. But like being able to get immediate feedback, like just everything, that was like the best show ever. So I know what I need to do for Ben Weider. I really just need to come in as peeled as humanly possible. Becky's judging again, so she's going to have comparisons of it. She has an expectation of me and Michelle, specifically us, because she just saw us at Chattanooga. She's seen videos of Taylor, so she'll have like a little bit of an expectation. She'll see Taylor at the Olympia. So by the time we get to Ben Weider, Becky will have seen me, Michelle, and Taylor all like very recently. I don't know who else is doing that show. So I'm just hoping to make like some really big improvements, but I'm really happy with how I did at Chattanooga. Like I said, I love that show. The photo shoot was amazing. And yeah, that's how Chattanooga went. I am 3 weeks out from Ben Weider, so probably in 4 weeks, y'all will get a wrap up of Ben Weider because I'm going on a cruise right after that show, so I will not be on YouTube.